Over the weekend, we learned about Trump's Treasury Secretary pick. Then we see the S&P 500 rallying to new all-time highs, Dow Jones rallying to new all-time highs, even though Russell 2000 rallying to new all-time highs. However, there's more news to be concerned with, and we got to ask ourselves, is it a case of where we need to buy the rumor, sell the news? We come over and look at the fear and greed index. We can see we're sitting at 61, almost in the middle of greed territory. And one of the biggest news stories we've seen out this weekend, causing the futures markets to gap up overnight and the equity markets to rally up today, was Trump's Treasury pick. However, is this a little bit overblown? Is the market getting ahead of itself? And not every market was so cheerful. For instance, if we come over and we take a look at gold today, yikes, gold getting smacked down, which we talked about today on the live stream. Gold having a massive down day. And if gold ends up continuing to go down here, we break the low right down here, that's going to set up a larger ABC pattern in gold, taking it down to 2,463. And we can see right here on this chart right here, Israel and Lebanon have agreed to terms of an agreement to end the Israel-Hezbollah conflict. And look at how crude oil reacted. Once that news was hit, crude oil goes plummeting down. Then when we look at crude oil chart, we can see it did not get much better for crude oil. Crude oil basically closing near the lower end of today's range. We can see right here where it says U.S. believes Israel Hezbollah ceasefire deal reach, senior official says. And we look right here and it says Biden and France President Macron are to announce a Hezbollah ceasefire deal within 36 hours. So now we got to ground ourselves to reality. Is this nothing more than a buy the rumor, sell the news? We look at how the indices fared across the board. The Dow was up 440 points. NASDAQ was up 51 points. S&P 500 up 18. Russell 2000 up 3.6. But look at advancing issues versus declining. We had 73.8% of issues advancing on the day. Then when we come over and look at the sectors across the board, the laggard out there by far was energy. And when we looked at the price of crude oil, we can see why the energy sector was lagging so much. Also, technology also having a rough day out there as well. Today on their live stream, we kept talking about NVIDIA down 4.24%. Now we've broken this swing point. Is the game over for NVIDIA? Is that all she wrote? And NVIDIA is going to continue to go lower. We come over and look at Bitcoin down $2,900 on the day. And we see it looking like it may want to go ahead and continue to go lower. Now, you know who else was hurting out here today? MSTR, yikes, getting smacked down 4.37%. And as we look at this, right, we really have a gap all the way down here at about 269.38. That would be a massive haircut if indeed it's going to get all the way down there to the lower gap. Now, when we start looking at the news for this week, they switched it since this weekend. Tomorrow, we're going to have the FOMC meeting minutes at 2 p.m. Over the weekend, they had this slated to be out on Wednesday. So it's kind of funny that they switched it up. Tomorrow, we have news starting at 9 a.m. Then we have news at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. is going to be a big one. We have consumer confidence, new home sales, Richmond Manufacturing Index. So we have a lot of news to contend with tomorrow. And we're going to see, will the bulls continue to rally the market up higher? Now, when we come back over and we look at the Dow Jones gapping up higher, and now it made a new all-time high today. Now, is that all she wrote? Are we going to see the Dow finally start to roll back over, potentially filling the gap from today? If you look at the 30-minute chart, we can already see the MACD indicator is a little bit weak at this moment. We do have a bearish cross of the two lines. So here's what I'm going to say with the Dow Jones. If we can break below this swing point at about 445.53, then I want to go ahead and try to play down for that gap to potentially get filled. However, when we come over and look at the Russell 2000, we actually have 3 consecutive days where we have gapped up and we have failed to fill those gaps. Now, when we start seeing consecutive things happening, watch out, we're probably getting pretty close. And when we look at the close of this candle, to me, it looks like a shooting star candle right near a prior swing point. So could this be a double top about to form, and we're about to go substantially lower? Keep in mind, the Russell got very close to filling the election night gap before rallying all the way back up here towards these highs. So tomorrow, it's going to be important. Do we confirm this shooting star type of candle, come down and start filling the gap? Or do we simply go ahead and continue to push up higher? I think the news tomorrow is really going to hold the key to that. Now, I want to remind everybody, Apex having a massive 80% sale off all their evaluation accounts, pass in as little as 1 day, $85 activation fee across all account sizes. If you'd like to take advantage of this offer, use the link in the description box down below. Use promo code Mike at checkout. Then as we jump over today and we take a look at the QQQs, what do we got going on over here? Qs today, gapping up closing near the lower end of the range, near the lower third, I would say. We see the Qs are actually up 77 cents on the session. We look out here on the 4-hour chart, MACD indicator near the zero line. Then we look on the 1-hour chart. What do we see? Basically flat line, not a lot to see. But today we were able to fill the gap right over here. And not only were we able to fill that gap, but if you look at the profile, we had an untested point of control right over here at about 510.13. When we spiked up this morning, we were able to take that out. Now, Friday's profile, I kind of classify it as a D as in dog shaped profile, even though it may look like a P. The reason for that, majority of the day was a consolidation. And with a D shaped profile, the first way we break quite often ends up being nothing more than a trap. So was this rally up this morning and overnight? Nothing more than a trap, and we're going to start to head lower, especially if that ceasefire deal is actually announced in the near future. We come over and look at the futures markets real quick. What do we got going on? Well, on the 4-hour chart, we're able to take out that untested value area low at 21,006. So again, we no longer have to worry about that level. We made it to the structure breakdown level, which we were talking about today on the live stream. Now the question is, are we going to push all the way up towards the point of control? Keep in mind, we also had a weekly value area high, which we talked about in Sunday's video. The rule behind that means that either this week or the following week, we're likely going to go ahead and come back and test that level. And that's exactly what shook out here this morning. Now, when we come over and look at this area, here's a nice development area we watched from up here, look to target it. We never made it back up towards that area just yet. We look at the volume profile levels from today. We have value area low coming in at 20,837.50. The point of control is going to be 20,875.50. Value area high is going to be 20,958. Now, as long as we're above value area low, I want to go ahead and see, can we push up towards value area high and even up towards this minus development area we were watching during the live stream at 20,979 to about 20,989. Now, why would I want to target those areas? Well, it's very simple. We look at this stat right here. Right now, we can see we're in a very, very bullish period of time for the stock market. Now, as we come over and look at the SPY, we can see we made a new all-time high today. However, we failed to close above that level. So we got to ask ourselves, is this nothing more than a look above failure? Now, if we also go ahead and look, keep in mind, we have this ABC pattern that could be in play. We did technically breach the high, which says that 616 is in play for the SPY. However, looking out here on the daily chart, MACD kind of flat right here. We're kind of hovering near this volume area. If we start breaking below here to the downside, watch for 592.61 for the market to potentially come down and test. 4-hour chart, we got the MACD indicator just crossed going up. But look now, as we came up and we made a new high, look at the MACD indicator. Was it making a new high? Absolutely not. Letting us know the momentum to the upside has waned. On the 1-hour chart, MACD indicator lines are essentially flat. Then on the 30-minute chart, notice today we gapped up, we came down, we filled the gap, we popped up here just a little bit. MACD indicator on the 30-minute chart is crossed to the bearish side. Now, when I look at this, what am I going to be expecting for tomorrow? Well, tomorrow it's going to be simple, all right? If we're above value area low, then I'm going to be looking for higher prices. We'll talk a little bit about this tomorrow morning in the first part of tomorrow morning's live stream. Now, when we come over and we look at the futures markets, what do we got? 4-hour chart, we were able to take out that point of control. We took out value area low from the prior week on Friday. Then you can see the gap that we had today, we gapped up, boom, we came back, we filled the gap. Now, as we look at this, we still have not come down and tested out value area high, which comes in at 5954.50. This is still a high probability target that will get hit either this week or next week. Keep in mind, around the holidays, the markets tend to be a little bit more bullish than bearish, so just be mindful of that. We come over and take a look at the daily profiles. Here's the arrow that we talked about for a target on the S&P during the live stream, and look where we came up to. Bink, we hit that level, pulled back a little bit, and then we rallied up a little bit more. Now, as we look at the daily profiles, we have value area low coming in at 5999.00. Point of control is going to be 6004.00 with value area high being 6021.00. Now, if we can break above this minus development area here, then I would want to go ahead and target 6013, 6014, anything above that. Try to target value area high at 6021. Then anything above that, look to retarget near the highs from today. Now, if we can break above the highs from today, then I want to go ahead and say, all right, can we make a run towards 6,044, which is value area high from 2 weeks back, and then maybe even make a run to another new all-time high. Now, if you guys want to see how I'm trying to build back after that $2 million loss, make sure to watch this video right here.